It was the night before Christmas, and all through the street no one was to be seen, not even a peep. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all genders, sexualities, ages, and variations, and welcome back to another video. And today's Doctor Who review is on The Church on Ruby Road. Yes, that's right, the latest. And I don't want to be tooting my own horn here already, but one of the greatest stories I have seen in a while of Doctor Who. So let's, without further ado, jump into the review. First, we start off with a churchyard and a baby and a hooded figure who we never get to see, who's delivering the baby to the doorstep of a church and then walks away. Who we later get to learn is the beautiful, wonderful, absolute queen slay, Miss Ruby Sunday. Yes, Miss Ruby Sunday. The new companion is the baby left on the doorstep. She is a foundling, and so throughout the course of the story we learn that she is trying to find out who her birth mother is. And so who else would she turn to but Dina Mcco? Yes, Davina has her own cameo in this episode as herself on a talk show discussing finding Ruby's parents. And throughout the plot, she does her best to try and find out, but sadly we come up short and find out that there is no trace of Ruby's mother or father or anyone related to Ruby. But something goes wrong on the set of Davina's show, and that's not the first time. After a period of time throughout the story, a lot of things begin to go wrong, and so Ruby starts to wonder whether she is unlucky. She starts to wonder if she's unlucky and whether all the things going wrong revolve around her and it's something to do with her and why things start going wrong. But, lo and behold, our protagonist, the Doctor, in the background, has been lurking around trying to figure out what's going on. He believes that there is a chance that something is the reason why these patterns of events keep happening, and it is not just any old coincidence. And so we soon later learn that he is indeed right. First of all, before I continue, Shooty Gatwa, I know I said you're the Doctor before, but this episode proves it. And so Ruby's mother decides to adopt another child, and as she does, we learn that doing this, and this being an odd number, we have a goblin problem. That's right, I'm not joking, we have goblins in Doctor Who. Yes, the goblins turn up and start messing around with everything. The Doctor figures out that they must be the cause of all the problems. And so, when Ruby goes into one of the rooms, she notices the goblins taking away her new step-sister. And so she chases after them. Running up into the roof, she tries to chase them up and catch up to them to get the baby back. But in the process, she gets stuck between a ladder and a high place. Yes, to chase after them, she ends up stepping onto a ladder. But little does she know that the ladder soon begins to hover off as the goblin ship starts to rise into the clouds. The Doctor runs out from goodness knows where on the rooftop and starts chasing after the ladder, stating to Ruby, who just sees a ladder and climbs on it. A ladder in the sky, and you thought, yeah babes, I'm gonna get on it. And so he jumps on the ladder after her and explains himself to her and mentions that they have goblins up on the ship. Ruby believes him, and the pair of them end up on the ship and tied up. After a couple of quips about Harry Houdini and ropes, the Doctor ends up managing to pull the right rope and release them from their chains and be able to climb around the ship. as they climb around the ship, they soon learn that the ship they're on isn't just any goblin ship, but indeed it is the ship of the Goblin King. And so they try their best to find a way of breaking out of the top rack of the ship in order to get down to the baby. And so down below they witness a whole palaver where they witness a beautiful goblin called Janice Goblin absolutely slaying with her band down below, singing songs about how the Goblin King is going to feast on the child. And so the Doctor manages to break a rope and drop down into the deck, where he is surrounded, and so is Ruby, by a horde of goblins. As they look below into the deck and notice all the goblins, the Doctor quickly makes a remark when the music cut out and says, "Hey, why stop singing?" And so Ruby and the Doctor have a music number together, singing to the goblins and basically escaping with the baby to return it back home. But our troubles aren't over there yet. As the baby is returned, the Doctor is faced with the most dangerous problem that he can find. He learns that time has been altered, and rather than the baby from the present being taken, the goblins have gone back in time to steal Ruby at her birth. And so, the Doctor is a race against time to save Ruby from being eaten by the big, bold Goblin King. And so when he arrives back in the time of the goblins and Ruby's birth, he uses his psychic glove, I'm guessing, or glove, with gravity, and pulls the ship down, destroying it onto the church and catching Ruby Sunday in the process. He then leaves Ruby on the doorstep whilst watching a hooded figure in the distance walk away. And so he runs back to the present to see whether Ruby is okay, and she is. And so he leaves and waits for her in the TARDIS. But before going back to the present, he does a little detour and saves Davina from being crushed by a Christmas tree. Yes, that's right. Davina was almost killed in this episode by a Christmas tree. Russell has done it again. He has made Christmas trees the killers of Doctor Who. But yes, that's our little detour. And then he goes back to the present. And so, Ruby starts putting pieces of a puzzle together as she starts to realise that the Doctor isn't quite what he seems, as he mentions time travel, Houdini, and a lot of other events, such as going back in time to save Ruby from the goblins. But as Ruby leaves, she is greeted by her neighbour, who tells her to go with the Doctor. Ruby runs around the TARDIS and then looks inside. The TARDIS takes off, and Abdul, a neighbour, tells Ruby's neighbour that the police box has gone, it has disappeared. To which, when Abdul walks away, the neighbour breaks the fourth wall and says, "Haven't you ever seen a TARDIS before?" This character is so cryptic, and I love it already. I really hope we get to, at least in this season or the next season, find out who she is and how she knows about TARDISes and stuff. And overall, I'm just thrilled the direction this story has taken. So, yeah. So, now to the best part of the video. What do we score the church on Ruby Road? Well, the story was magnificent. The way that it jumps back and forth is fantastic. It's so well illustrated. The dynamics between each character in the story, the representation in this story alone is also fabulous. And for that reason, I'm going to have to give this story a 10 out of 10. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and we'll be back at some point in the new year to do some more Doctor Who reviews. But until then, stay beautiful, stay amazing. and go forth in all your beliefs. Goodbye.